Okay, in this video, we talk about Mirror, Mirror after this. Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd, and it would seem to me that Mirror, Mirror is probably the most used plot device in subsequent Trek shows than pretty much anything else. And with good reason. This was a very good way to take our characters and show them in a slightly different light. In this episode, of course, Kirk and Uhura and McCoy and Scotty are in a transporter accident that puts them in a parallel universe where everybody is basically savages. And it doesn't take long for them to make a good show, at least somewhat. The people that know them the best would have some problem with that, especially Spock. Spock has a beard. That's the big thing about this show. That was what everybody talked about at the time and even since, was Spock looked good with a beard, and probably he did. He really had very little to do with the show itself. He had a few doubting lines and things like this, and he had a scene at the end where he has a good line, "Captain Kirk, I will consider it." But the best stuff went to Sulu, unusually so, and I'm certain that if George Takei has a favorite episode of the original series, that's got to be it, because he was doing things. He was leading a conspiracy. He was getting into a fight. He was romancing with Uhura. And they actually give Uhura a little bit of a bit to do as well, where she's more than just pushing a few buttons and saying hailing frequencies are open, but rather she is taunting Sulu and then rejecting him just long enough for him to ignore something on his security panel. Now, Sulu was the security chief in this particular universe, but even later on in the series, we find that Sulu still has a security board as part of his navigation panel. We don't know why. It just seemed that once somebody does something, it just keeps happening. Scotty was actually able to do science this time. Most of the time when we see Scotty, it's usually just listening to what Spock says. Use inverse phasing, Mr. Scott. You need to reroute the ducts, Mr. Scott. Scotty was just kind of a running boy for Spock. And it's a shame because we needed to show that he had some expertise. And in this episode, they actually did show some of that. McCoy gets a moment to, save alternate Spock's life. And there's a new set even over engineering that will be used subsequently as well. So all of these things are interesting in this episode, and I have probably missed many more, including the captain's woman. Not necessarily something that would carry over into the main universe. There were people at the time saying, hey, the captain should have a captain's woman. They said, no, you don't know what she is. And the censors really couldn't tell you that she was a prostitute. So that was the situation with that. But they played it so much like every one of Kirk's romances, it was hard really to tell if you weren't just in on the joke. So that was the episode there. The mission was almost meaningless in the context of the episode. But that was, they had one, planet fall, some guest stars, and a lot of extras that played this time around. So I think that it's something that has stood the test of time. It's still a good concept, and for that reason, they've used it on Deep Space Nine. They've used it on Enterprise. They used it in Discovery, and to great use. So I think that this has been a lasting part of Star Trek's legacy. I'd like to know what you think. Please put it in the comments below. And of course, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please do so. We're trying to make a few improvements around here, and your support will continue helping us to try to put better material out towards you. So until next time, don't go far.